Hey everybody, it's Andrew Moore from Yellowknife Sport Fishing Adventures, and I'm going to show you how I fillet a lake trout. So to start, what I do is I run my knife on an angle behind the head. I find that this doesn't waste very much meat this way. And then once I cut down on an angle, I turn my knife sideways along the spine, and I go in. I don't go in very far, but just enough so my knife pokes, and you can kind of feel with the tip of the knife the rib cage. And I just run the knife along there, and I keep going. And as you go a little bit further, the knife goes a little bit deeper before you actually hit the rib cage, and it gets to a point where your knife, the rib cage ends, and your knife is going to go all the way through, and that's usually around the anus of the fish. And I just turn the knife kind of on a downward angle, and I go along the spine, and that keeps as much meat on the fillet rather than on the carcass of the fish. And from here, what I do is I like to peel the fillet back a bit, and it allows you to take your time and go slow and cut through the first set of bones before you get to the main ribs. And then once you cut through that first set of bones, it exposes the ribs very nicely, and then you can peel the fillet back, and as you run your knife, you're basically pressing down and just slight little feather motions, and that'll keep the meat on the fillet rather than on the carcass. So as you can see, as I'm peeling, I'm pressing down my knife on the rib cage, and I'm keeping as much meat as I can on the fillet and not wasting any meat. And you get to the bottom of the rib cage, and I just kind of scrape it off. So right there, I've cut, and there's no rib bones or anything in that fillet. Just repeat on the other side. The other side is usually always a trickier part, because now you've taken half the fish off of it, and it's kind of at a weird angle. So you just take your time with it. And you cut down along behind the head on an angle, and then you run the blade along the spine until you feel the rib cage. Some people can do this like super fast and make it look real easy, but I'm one of those people that like to take my time and make sure that there's no bones and get as much meat on the fillet as I possibly can, so you're not wasting any of the fish. You can kind of get underneath the tips of those rib cages, and then you can kind of fold the knife up, and you can follow the ribs down, cut them out without wasting meat. And you can run your hand or your thumb along there, and you can feel the little tips sticking out, and then you can kind of figure out the direction that they're going. I like to squeeze, not very hard, but I like to squeeze the meat a little bit, and that helps the bone more in a vertical position, and it makes it a little bit easier to cut out. And then once you make the cut down on both sides, you can usually just grab it and peel out that strip of meat that has the bones in it. And you want to take the skin off. So this will allow me to dig in my fingernail or press down on it hard enough that I can get a grip, and then I can pull and run my knife on a downward angle along the skin and cut the meat off. And just kind of, if you can get a hold of it and pull it, good. If you're good with just your nail on the cutting board, pulling it across. Some people use pliers as well, that also works. Just clean up a little bit on the side. And there we go, we got two very nice, very orange meat Great Slave Lake lake trout. And that is how I fillet a lake trout.